Meeting is called to order. This Cedar Lake Park Board public meeting, February 24th, 2022. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Holstein?
Present.
Mr. Marquardt?
Here.
Ms. Miller? Here. Mr. Rodriguez?
Present.
Ms. Sheben is currently absent. Mr. Niemeyer?
Present.
Ms. Sandberg? Present. Mr. Salata?
Present.
Mr. Austin?
Present.
Ms. Abernathy? Present.
A quorum is established. This is an official meeting of the Cedar Lake Park Board, the first one. So we'll start with the election of officers. We have president. Are there any nominations for president? Any nominations?
Did I put a nomination in?
The floor is open for
I
nominations.
nominate Dale Holstein.
Dale Holstein's been nominated for president. Any other nominations? There's a second for Dale Holstein. Any other nominations? Third call. No other nominations. Nominations are closed. We have a first by Greg Marquardt, a second by Sarah Miller. Any questions or discussion on the motion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Holstein?
Aye.
Mr. Marquardt?
Right? Yeah, be yes or no.
Mr. Marquardt?
Yes.
Ms. Miller? Yes. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes. Okay, 4-0. Dale? Yeah, we're here, bud. Nothing like drinking from a fire hose.
There we are. Well, be like that, I guess.
Well, let me grab my pen.
Here's your, or mine. This is a firefighter, he's used to it.
Okay, second item is the nomination for vice president. We have a nomination for vice president on the board.
I'll nominate Ms. Miller.
I'll
Okay,
second that.
all right, we have a nomination for Sarah Miller and a second by Greg. I guess we can take a vote on that. All right, oh, I have to move. All right, hang on. That was totally unofficial because I wasn't in the right chair. Correct.
Or you want to
Okay. Guess we'll take a roll call on Sarah Miller for vice president.
Mr. Holstein?
Yes.
Mr. Marquardt?
Yes.
Ms. Miller? Yes. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Okay, that's 4-0 for Sarah Miller. Next on the agenda, we have a presentation by Corby Thompson of OW Crone and Associates.
Good evening, board members. I'm just kind of here to reintroduce myself. Corby Thompson, I'm with Crone and Associates. We're a CPA firm who kind of specialize in municipal advising out of Westfield. And I'm just kind of here, as Randy just wanted me to give you guys just kind of a heads up on, just kind of, the responsibilities of the board, especially in regards to kind of financing matters. So with that being said, I've got that handout I kind of handed to all you guys. If we kind of just want to take a look at that, it might just be helpful and it could be informative for everybody as well. That first packet of information that I have there, it's just about 5 different sections of the state code that I know it's also in your ordinance, and you guys may have already gone through some of this information, but I just kind of wanted to put some layman's terms to some of this maybe, and we'll just run through specifically this first sheet real quick, and then I'll just touch on some other things. So, what is your duty as a board? So according to the statutes, we've kind of got, a list of 8 things here, and I'm just going to kind of go through them. So, one, the main purpose is you guys are the board. You determine how the department, the district, the park district is going to function. So, any kind of operations, hierarchy, ideas, they all kind of flow through you. It's kind of, your responsibility financially and operationally. Some other things just to note here, on that third point, you're to provide adequate public safety to the parks. That's just kind of done, I would imagine, just a natural course of operations of the town. So some of these things are kind of self-explanatory. It won't take a whole lot of work on your end, but again, I'm going to go through some of those. So one of your next things you'll do is appoint a superintendent to the park, if that's not already been done. But they'll kind of be the manager of the park district, at least according to a typical park district that I've seen. They will then kind of give you, updates at your various meetings and those kinds of things. Some of the financial reporting items that you'll be required to do, again, will kind of just be taken care of in the normal course of town action. You're required to provide an annual report to, the fiscal body, which we kind of just do that in the annual financial report. It's required by Gateway. So, there's not a lot to do on your end regarding that, but, throughout the year, your decisions will impact what that annual financial report looks like. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Now, the more important thing that you will be involved in directly would be the budgeting process. So that usually happens around August, September, October time. You guys will be required, and you'll be the first kind of group to approve the park's budget. That will then go to the fiscal body for them to ultimately approve finally, but one of your main functions will be to establish a budget for the succeeding year of whatever year we're in. Kind of included in the budget, you'll also be responsible for kind of being the first line to establish salaries and wages among the employees within the Parks District. So I just want to note that as well. On the next page, there's another list of basically just kind of, executive powers that you guys have as a board. Just to kind of sum this up, really, you guys have the ability to enter into contracts with people as a board. So that's kind of, in my opinion, the main key thing here. Not only do you have the ability to contract, you can purchase and sell equipment, land, those kinds of things. You've also got the ability to delegate your duties further. Now, there's certain things that require board action. You can't obviously delegate those, but you can delegate certain things out. And then you also do have the ability to publish documents on behalf of the town. So these are all things that you guys do have the ability to do. The next page is kind of just a section on your guys' ability to levy a tax. Now, your tax will fall within the town's maximum levy. So in order for you guys, at this point in time, in order for you guys to have any levy, we have to pull levy from somewhere else. Now, I would propose that when we get to the budget process, one of the main things that we need to look at this year is filing for an extension of services. So there's several different kinds of excess levy appeals that we can look at, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But, this is a new district to the town. I know they may have had one in the past, but for whatever reason it may have been, they diverted those funds and used them elsewhere. Well, we're reestablishing this, and I'm going to make the argument that these are new services to the town. You don't have a park system essentially right now. We're going to look to establish one, and that's going to require funding, so we're going to look to the DLGF to allow us to increase your maximum levy in order to help pay for some of the things you guys want to get done. The next couple sections are just kind of about your ability to issue debt. You guys can propose the debt and you can bring it to, the council. Now, they ultimately have final say there as well. But one thing I do want to note is that you guys, and Dave, correct me, where do you go? you're over there. The room floats up. But I believe the Park District has its own geo debt limit, separate of the redevelopment commissions and separate of the town's general geo debt.
It does.
Okay, so, that's kind of just a general obligation, that's just any debt that you basically can, that you would like to incur, and it would be payable through your property tax. So, not only are we gonna go and look at trying to file an extension for service levy to get you some more property tax levy, you also have the ability to issue debt, and you can issue a property tax in order to, pay that debt. So, not saying that's what we're gonna do, but again, another power that you guys have and that the council has, and it's kind of unique that you guys have your own geo debt limit. That's really all I wanted to go through over the state statutes. You guys have any questions there?
Actually, yeah,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, Greg had said that he had a list, so, I'll let him.
You answered most of it,
Okay.
all right? You might have said this already, is there a tax levy at this point?
Right now, the park does not have its own tax levy. I mean, the general fund does, and there's currently a parks department within the general fund. So you could make the argument that some of the general fund's tax levy can be allocated to the park, already. Now, that's up to a bunch of different people to make that determination, but yeah, right now, there is no levy for the park specifically.
So to follow up on that, just so my terminology and my head lines up with you, so like when you get your property tax bill, you get county, state, or county, municipal, library.
Mhm.
So essentially what you're saying is there could be a possibility that like in that there would be parks, like there'd be.
It would be within the town's rate.
Oh, okay.
So it would be included in whatever taxing rate. So yeah, you've got all your overlapping units. So you got your county, township, town, school, whatever it all may be in there. Any additional levy that the town might get from filing for an extension of services, or if we just reallocate levy, it'll just be embedded in the town.
Okay, so it's not creating like a separate line item?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
Anything else, Greg?
Well, but not right now, I'm fine.
Okay.
Thanks.
Paul, Sarah?
I'm okay.
Okay.
That kind of leads me into that next handout I have. It literally is just your fund statement from January 28th. I got this from Jennifer. But I just highlighted a couple funds on there to let you know.
I'm referring to this one?
This one, right? No, not
No,
that
that's
one.
mine, that we'll
Okay.
discuss in a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, hang on a second.
Yeah, you'll have to undo that little clip, maybe it might be easier, yeah.
It
The
looks
last
like
couple
this.
pages? Okay.
I think it's the second one set in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we'll get it.
And I think, Jen, you're probably gonna touch on this more, but I just wanted to point out the resources that you guys have available at this time. So I've highlighted the general fund there, and the reason I've highlighted that is that you currently do have $158,000 budgeted for the parks within the general fund. So, that's there available to kind of get all of this up and running, get some of this, have these meetings, have the consultants that are needed for, just getting the park system in place. Also highlighted the park impact fees. I think this way you're gonna touch on a little, maybe in
Yeah,
more
I mean,
detail later.
if you guys want to real fast, because, I really don't have anything too in-depth, can we just discuss
Yeah.
it real fast since we're here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because all I did was the reports that I made for you all and color-coded it. One is 2021 activity, and then the other one is 2022 activity, so it's from January 1st to as of yesterday. And then the other item I gave you was, the list I gave you at your training meeting. I basically updated it to let you know what the status was, because a couple of those items are now complete, a couple of them are in progress, and so I showed you what we've paid to date. And really, the reports that I've given you are just park impact related, because that's most of the activity going on right now. As Corby just said, within the general fund, there is a park department But what that has been for us the last couple of years is really park maintenance. So it's what him and his guys use, it's what summer mowing crews are traditionally paid out of. And there's a little bit budgeted for miscellaneous supplies, miscellaneous equipment repairs. This year, we did add in a line for professional services, should you guys have a need to, whatever you decide to do with it this year. So there's a little bit that we budgeted this year to get you guys started. But like Corby said, once we hit August, that's when, sooner the better to talk budget. So that's when, hopefully you guys will have a few meetings under your belts. You'll really decide how you want to kick things off, what you want to see in the next 3 to 5 years, and then we'll budget accordingly so that we can get that stuff done, whether it's miscellaneous services, consultants, small projects, what have you.
Yeah, so just to touch too kind of on what that park impact fee is, it's basically when developers come in here and they're building new homes, they are essentially putting, in theory, would be a strain on the parks, and that you would be required to improve them or have better facilities or more facilities or whatever it may be. So basically that money is there right now for those park infrastructure projects. And it sounds like there's already been some commitments to some of those. I guess one thing I didn't mention in the financial reporting is every year I provide a sustainability plan, which is kind of just a comprehensive 5-year look of the town. That will be kind of the initial point of us talking about the budget. We usually do that, we're going to try to do that in the second quarter, so coming up here shortly. But that will be kind of your guys' first look, sitting down with me, trying to figure out what do you guys want to see and what do we want to get done. We'll do that in the second quarter. But a lot of that is going to kind of just start with some of this park impact fee, getting some of those large purchases out of the way. We can use those funds for that. And then we'll use kind of that current $158,000 that we have budgeted in the general fund. You'll also have a sheet in front of you that's just one page. It looks like this, very small lettering. But unfortunately, I can't get it any bigger.
No. We're referring to this one here, correct?
That's the one.
Okay.
So what that is right there is it says budgeted spending 2021. This is actually your 2022 budget. I just pulled the 21 report. Anyways, this is where you see proposed 2022. That's actually what has been adopted. So ignore that total at the bottom. That's your total for the entire general fund. The total for the parks is $157,830. And within that amount, you can kind of see the different line items that we've allocated. This is kind of what we're going to be discussing when we get to the budgets, when we get to the sustainability plan. This is kind of the layout that I look at it, so we'll kind of just go through these items, or we'll just talk about in general, and then I'll put the money where it needs to be within the lines, but this is kind of the format we're going to be looking at there. So I just wanted to give you that so you guys know what you have budgeted for you this year.
And you said where it says proposed, that's actually what's been adopted, right?
Yes, it's what's actually been adopted. Yeah, this is for my budget files when we adopted.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So one other thing I want to hit on that fund page again was there was one last fund that was highlighted, and it's Park and Rec Non-Reverting Operating Fund.
Right.
That would be the fund that we intend to have most of the receipts and disbursements for the Park District run through. So if there's, we get down the line and there is, you're charging fees for a baseball league or whatever it is,
Sure.
That will all run through your Park Non-Reverting Fund. Same with like a levy. I haven't had any discussions with the council yet on how they want to do this, but we can keep the levy just in the general fund, or we can shift levy to that Park Non-Reverting Fund so that it's always the park's money, not the general fund's money, if that makes any sense. So that will be one thing that we'll be looking to do, is kind of get that fund back working again. So that will be what you guys are working out of. The other things that you kind of just have in front of you, I've got this state board memo from Wes Bennett, who's the commissioner of the DLGF. DLGF. In here, you can find the different levy appeals that we'll be looking at, that the town will be going through. One of them will always do the 3-year growth appeal, because your guys' assessed value is increasing quite quickly. But one less common one would be the extension of services. So I think one of the main goals this year for you guys as a board would be, we need to come up with the argument that we need this money, and that the Parks District will not be able to go forward without having some additional levy. So whatever story we want to tell to get there, that will be one of our jobs this year.
That'd be the truth.
Well, of course, no, it's the truth.
So we have annexation.
It will set us free. All right, and then the last thing I have here would be the current projects list that we have, just so you guys know, which a lot of this has changed, and when we get to redoing sustainability plan, but the only commitment that I was aware of until tonight, which it looks like a bunch of the park impact fee money has started to have some commitments on, which is good. Originally there was only this Founder's Creek and Morse Corridor project with park impact fees allocated. So honestly, you can just throw this away, because I imagine this is going to change quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, we're at the point in time where I think sustainability plans will really have to be having some major updates, and then as we move forward in budgets for the ensuing year, we'll see. I mean, with our growth and with the services being asked for, we're gonna be rocking and rolling with a lot.
That was my park board district crash course there. So
It was excellent.
all right. Yeah.
Does anyone have any other questions for Mr. Thompson?
You laid it out pretty well.
And I'll give you guys a card too, so that if something comes up.
That was going to be my question.
Yep.
You're my leader.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
All right, very good. Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you.
Second presentation, we have Tim Kubiak, the Director of Operations.
Good evening. I don't know if I have so much of a presentation or just an update on where we are with the current projects that are going on. You guys got this list here. I'm going to go through these and just tell you what's going on with them. We have the Bartlett Wahlberg.
Just we're going through this list here, right, Jennifer?
Jennifer gave you. We have the Bartlett Wahlberg Washroom and Pavilion design. That design is complete. We actually advertised and took bids on this project. Unfortunately, we got 0 bids back. So we're at the point of re-meeting with the engineer, re-establishing a date to do bids again. We had some discussion with Nick Giorgio about maybe splitting up the pavilions and the bathroom into 2 separate deals, maybe to get some other people interested, or some smaller contractors or whatever. Maybe keep the bathroom as a standalone project in the quicker time zone, and then do the pavilions as a separate deal. That was one of the thoughts that we had that maybe help move things along.
In your, just real quick, in your experience, is there a reason why you won't get a return on stuff like that?
Well, I think the reason being is just that all of the contractors are super busy. We advertise, they put it out into the 2 advertisements in the paper, and I think that people are drowning with stuff that they have to bid already, and they're not looking through the ads trying to find work.
Sure.
We didn't get any interest, any calls, anything. So with the next time, we were going to reach out to a couple people and let them know that it's out there, so we could at least, generate.
Tim, didn't it have something to do with the deadlines too of Memorial Day?
Well,
Being a little tight on time?
we're just assuming. According to Nick Giorgio, one of the contractors, there was one clause in the bid documents that said they had to be municipal certified contractors, and he said that scared away a few people, because that was like a certification process that you had to go through to be able to bid on this. So I don't know if that ever made it to you, but we were going to ask if that needed to be in those bid docs or not. That was Rick Arberly ended up getting bid documents from Christopher Burke, who does our roadway stuff, so they got the start of the paperwork through that and used that format to put into the park, so I think that there was some stuff that didn't need to be in there.
Okay.
So we were going to look at getting that removed from there where it said you had to be a municipal, whatever, to try to keep those normal, smaller guys from being scared away of doing it, so. That's where we were with that. I know, Chris, we were gonna schedule a time to try to get another date to re-advertise to do the bids again, and then we were gonna contact local people and kind of throw it out there that we were going to do it. Again, I feel that doing the bathroom separately from the pavilions would help with the timeline of the bathroom, and then the pavilions, you know what I mean? We could say this project we want done, right away, and, obviously, we're gonna have to move from the Memorial Day to like a June day or something, but we could put a deadline on it, and then maybe we could have the pavilions done by the end of the year or something, like I said, today's day and age, there's a lot more work than there is people to do it, unfortunately, so guys aren't, they're not.
If I may, we're having pavilions done in quite a few of the parks.
Correct.
Would we not just bid out a pavilion project to maybe one contractor to do all the pavilions?
That was the recommendation, to do the bathroom standalone and then the 5 pavilions.
Separate, okay.
Just
Yeah,
not each individual one, but like the 5
right,
pavilions.
they can't do them all at once, but yeah, just one contractor to do all the pavilions.
Correct, that was
Okay.
I think that may help with, the pavilions are basically 8 post holes.
Sure.
A concrete pad and a prefab kind of kit. We already picked out some designs, and it's basically, you order it and you get to post the whole deal as kind of like a kit. So there's a lot of people that should be able to handle, it's not a major deal, so.
And I've warned others, I'm a question guy, so I'm sorry, but.
No problem, yeah.
When you did this, was that just a Bartlett Park bid, or was that
all
these pavilions?
The bids were for all 5 pavilions and the bathroom.
Okay.
So that was what we put out to bid.
Okay.
I was under the impression we were gonna get a prototype bid for the pavilion. We picked a pavilion that had from a 10 by 12 to a 30 by 50 pavilion that all looked the same, uniform places everywhere, so that's why what we looked for when we were doing it, so that way we could figure out, how big a place we wanted and different places as we went, but somehow we escalated into the 5, I don't know what happened there, but, that's what, I think you guys got involved in with Rick, and we got to doing more than one, and that was where we ended up, so 4, 20 by 30s, and 1, I believe it was like 12 by 20 in the smaller one in the woods of Cedar Creek over there.
Okay.
The playground equipment for the Kiwanis and the Lindsway, that is supposed to be in here for the spring. Those, I think we had 5 different places where that stuff was coming into, and that's ordered and should be coming in for the spring. So that was, those next 4 things were ready to go for springtime.
Sure. It's the last page of that one. This one. No. This one there. Yes, sir. We're getting good.
There was another round of just swings and stuff that actually Dale Gergel went around, and with the insurance people and whatever and stuff, they just went through the parks and stuff that was old and dilapidated, they got reordered, and we actually received half of that stuff already for updating the swings and stuff that is in that's in poor condition that needs to be replaced. So we have that stuff in queue, ready to go. Obviously the fencing around Town Hall, the Summerfest people chipped in some money for the pavilion and for some paint, and actually Dale Gergel, with a little help, they got siding and replaced all the bad stuff on the pavilion, repainted it. We poured some concrete in front of it, so when they do the stuff that they don't have to put plywood on the ground. We've been continuously trying to get little things done, upgrading at a time. We were looking at possibly, we got the parking lot done out here, obviously, a couple of years ago. We need to get some lighting in the parking lot for when there is stuff at night. That was another thing that was kind of on the list. At the clubhouse over there, we're fixing up the kitchen. Making that, got a new stove, the actual tables and chairs, the new tables and chairs are actually coming in tomorrow. But we got the kitchen almost done, we're waiting for a stove to go in there, and it's looking 100 times better than it was, so that's moving forward. Also, we got a light to put out in that parking lot too still, as soon as the weather gives us an opportunity. The Kiwanis Dog Park, we got a fence.
Yeah. Well, that's half the battle.
It's a start, yeah, so we got the fence. We actually got over the last 2 weeks, we got an electric service put in on the east side of the park we got it installed. NIPSCO still has to bring us power to it, but that will be for lighting and the dog gate operator power. So we got that ball rolling with, it's at least getting it to that point where we'll be able to get that stuff energized once we get it done. I got a couple places looking for the dog water and the fountain for filling water bottles and the fountain. We're having troubles finding one that doesn't have the people drinking area on it. It has the dog thing, the drinking fountain, and the bottle filler. I was trying not to put the regular drinking fountain out there because it's going to be, don't need it, and it's just going to be, with being sitting outside, it's going to, when you walk up to it, it's going to be what it's, it just seems like it's, so I got actually Leaps down in Lowell trying to see if they can order it and get that eliminated from there, so you just have your water bottle filler and the dog bowl filler. So we have water there that needs to be moved over into the right spot to get done. So there's still a lot of things over there to make that 100%. We need to pave that parking lot. We made the parking bigger before the end of the year last year. We got it some millings and expanded it a little bit to get it ready to be paved. So that's starting to take some shape. The basketball goals and posts, that is something that I don't know what we're going to do with yet, but apparently Public Works, or we're going to try to get some concrete guys to maybe give us, if we can get it set up and get it ready, we can get some help to get them poured and get it done. So
I'm trying to follow along with the plan here.
The pavilions there was like 5 pavilions in a row, and then it says basketball goals and posts at Kiwanis, basketball posts and goals at Lindsway.
No, I'm just trying to locate, what's Monastery Woods North? I have
sorry.
Monastery Clubhouse and I have Monastery.
Monastery Woods North is the subdivision directly to the west of Clubhouse.
Okay.
So it's on the north side of 129th. If you go in the double entrance in the middle and head north, that's the park.
Okay.
Right there.
Perfect, thank you.
So that's the Monastery. The Kiwanis is, where that one is, Kiwanis Park, and then Lindsway is down Parish South at the Lindsway subdivision. The plans for the basketball goals, there's a lot of those. We haven't really did anything with that. I know that was with the park, with these guys in the park board meetings, the basketball goals. A lot of community people were asking for basketball.
We wanted for the older kids.
Sure.
Yeah. So that was something that we had a couple ideas of where, that was the places where we were, came up with to put them, so, yeah, the fountain, water fountain, town hall fencing. Town hall fencing is probably 75% done. With the town hall fencing, we intend on extending the paved midway deal and turning it, and we put a sliding gate in to go out onto 136 to try to help with the events that are here when they set up and stuff along there, be able to come in this way and then open that gate and go out the other side. That's the hope anyway. We intend on extending that paved area so you'll be able to actually drive, on the pavement through that area. That was the plan anyway when we put up the fence, so that's something in the planning stage. There's also with the town hall fencing, down by the lake here, there's a place where the drainage goes into the lake between the beach and the museum that's got like a fallen down split rail fence. We're replacing all that fencing with the same thing so it all looks uniform. What else we got? ADA park improvements, estimate, clubhouse improvements. I think that's all we got on the list, so, I don't know how many of you guys know Dale Gergel, but he's currently the parks crew leader that I have at Public Works, who takes on getting the summer help and maintaining and mowing and trying to keep everything, you know, looking good. He's been a godsend since we got him. He really takes pride in everything and does a great job keeping everything nice, you know, I mean, he's a
Keep
good
your
person
name.
He was supposed to be here tonight, but I think unfortunately he's on the crew for plowing at 7 o'clock. He went home at noon today or 11 to come back and plow tonight, so that must be, I know Randy, he was supposed to be here, but I'm assuming that's why he's not.
He's very helpful.
But he's been great as far as a person to count on. He helps out with the events here and the people, you know, when they do the market day or the market thing and all that stuff. He's
And
pretty.
Mr. Chairman, when Mr. Kubiak's done, I can talk a little more about Dale.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant now, okay. Yeah, that's about all I have. I don't know, if you guys have any other questions about anything.
I guess I do, just as I'm rifling through this. Anyone else have anything?
So Miss Margaret Abernathy did provide me kind of like an update form of what Mr. Kubiak just talked about, if you'd like for me to pass it out to everyone.
Sure, that'd be great, thank you. This is just me glancing over before the meeting, and I see ADA park improvement estimate. And as I'm going through, again, the inventory, I notice a lot of them are listed as none. So is that like generic, and this is for whoever, but is the overall goal just to get all the parks ADA compliant, or were there specific ones that were targeted?
Well, eventually they'll all need to be
Sure.
compliant, for sure. I think we talked about, picnic tables and things like that, and just making sure that everything was accessible.
Okay,
Yeah, and again, like all of the things moving forward that we are doing, like the new equipment and the stuff that's been ordered, it's all ADA compliant. So everything that we're doing, you know, again, that's why we spent $47,000 on the design for the bathrooms and the pavilion, so that way there's a plan for the elevation, there's sidewalk, there's ingress, egress for those for ADA accessibility. So that's, unfortunately, when you look at that number and you go, all we got is some pictures, that's why, just to make sure that all that stuff is done properly and that we have, you know, all of our ducks in a row to make sure that's all good, so.
sure.
That's kind of the thing. I think as far as the picnic tables and stuff that's on the list, to start adding those to the thing, but I think the main thing is all of the new, everything that we're doing new, we're definitely making sure that all that stuff meets
Complies with
those
the start.
requirements.
Sure.
So that way, that would be the end goal eventually, that every park would definitely have some ADA accessibility, which would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know from MacArthur, it comes at a high cost. I know that they have a boat at MacArthur, and I think it ran them like $20,000 for a wheelchair accessible park feature for the kids. So it comes at a cost.
Yeah.
So. but
Yeah,
we need to
everything
do it.
is, but you gotta do,
Yeah, we have to
part
do it.
of it, and we added some sidewalk in front of the, Crystal Oaks Park as part of that project and all that, you know, every year with the community crossings thing for the ADA improvements, we've been doing intersections and, you know, all of those things, so that's kind of been on a steady, we're actually in Lindsway now, we got about 60% of Lindsway all done with last year's money, and we're gonna be able to finish that out this year and move to a different spot, so.
Okay.
It's been pretty good getting all that stuff cleaned up and fixed and all the old stuff that was not compliant and taken care of, so.
Members have any other questions for Mr. Kubiak?
Lindsway, the park there does look very new. Is there any planning for swings or anything additional there, is all the equipment?
The Lindsway is getting the new ADA kids area and then some swings and then also one of the pavilions there.
Okay, thank you.
So it was just and then also that was one of the places where we had planned on putting a basketball court because of the size of it.
Perfect.
So,
Thank you.
again, we tried getting some of those kids areas just to get something because we didn't have a lot. This seems, by me driving around every day, the little kids thing right out here is one of the most used areas that I see during the day with the young moms and the kids, and that's one of the things what we tried to focus on because it seems like it's really used a lot, so we gotta start somewhere, so that was kind of the plan.
Okay.
So now you guys get to make the plan.
Yeah, well,
that was where we were thinking anyhow,
Sure.
so we did our best to try to move forward, so.
Anyone have any other questions for Mr. Kubiak?
No, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys.
You guys do a great job on the road, so.
Thank you.
I'll,
We try.
Dale, thank you. appreciate that. Next on the agenda, we have the approval of the minutes from the January 31st, 2022 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
So moved.
Motion made by Paul, can I have a second, please?
Second.
Seconded by Greg.
Mr. Holsey,
Yes?
Mr. Markort,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Okay, the vote carries 4-0. New business, we have discussion, members' park and recreation ideas, to potentially have the members create a list of recreational activities that we would like to consider in the future and rank for the March meeting. Was anyone in the room going to speak about that? Because I know as a board, some of us have tossed around ideas that I would be open to kind of throwing out where our head's at, so people understand where we're trying to target.
If I could make a suggestion possibly, if you could individually maybe create a list of recreational ideas that you would like, send those lists to me, I can compile them. I would say maybe give yourselves 2 weeks, have them into me by, the 18th of March. I can have them compiled onto a little spreadsheet so you guys can then go and rank them. I'll send it back out so you guys can have them ranked and brought back. If you have them ranked and sent back to me in a timely fashion, we could even have them already kind of averaged out between the four of you, what they look like. And so that way at your next meeting, we can already have them ranked on the average between the four. So that way you can see where everything kind of stacks up between the four of you on what your ideas were and how you prioritize them.
That works for me.
That's why you're the town manager.
It's a great idea.
See, Randy? That's why I'm the comment. You didn't even hire me.
This is a good seat over here.
Yeah. You look better from a distance.
I agree.
But I think that'll make it more efficient, so that way you guys can have a very productive next meeting as to, you'll know what the top priorities are, you're gonna have much more ideas than probably we'll be able to implement, especially within the first year. And you can have some plan of attack on how many to tackle and how to go about doing it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're all eager and ready to go, and we're looking already at some ideas for our senior community and our kids and our middle ages and everything in between. Something that stuck with me in a conversation with someone that I had a meeting with recently was that they didn't bring their family to town because they didn't feel like there was enough to do while they were doing whatever business they were conducting. And that sticks with me. In fairness, that's something I've pestered Randy about for the...
Pestered?
Spoke.
I would say encouraged.
I've been in this town since 2006, and I always find myself taking my child to Lowell and Crown Point parks because I felt like that was something missing. So if you're going to complain, be part of a solution, and we're excited to do new things, and they may start small, but they could become big.
That's why, Dale, when this was all put together, I knew you'd been raising your hand for many years, like, pick me.
Mm-hmm. So
here you are. You got ownership of this now.
I also take that as a compliment, having been a Lowell Town Councilman for 6 years.
Well, and we've also identified, Ms. Miller and I went out to the clubhouse, and I haven't been to the clubhouse in years, and Mr. Salatis was there, and that has come a long way, and Sarah and I have kind of identified that as maybe a neat little opportunity for some senior activities, maybe board games and coffee once a month to start, just open it up, and it's something for someone to do. And we've talked about soccer already. There's lots of ideas out there. Yeah,
We need to get that going.
absolutely. And the conversation I had with Ms. Sandberg a few weeks ago was, we still have the stuff, right? So we just need to find a way to resurrect it in a realistic timeline.
So, Tim talked about Dale Gergel.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Kubiak, myself, and Mr. Salatas all spoke with Mr. Gergel. Dale has a great passion for the open spaces of this community, but he also has some experience in programming when he was with the city of Crown Point. And Dale's also been a youth basketball coach for many years, including coaching me in 8th grade. So he's a guy with experience that could lend itself to getting some core programs launched like soccer.
Sure.
We had talked about the possibility of creating, because there's a recreation coordinator part-time in your budget for this year. But Dale has this burn and wants to really work all in parks.
Mhm.
He wanted to be here tonight to introduce himself to all of you because the idea that's floating around right now is to create some kind of a hybrid position where you combine what you have in this budget with what he's doing with Public Works from the maintenance side, and you create somewhat of a full-time position of a guy who could manage the grounds and the department to get it started. He would be an excellent candidate for that. It's something that we could probably work from a wage distribution standpoint if he's still doing park maintenance and things like that. There's certain things within our employee matrix that we can apply to that and then boost that with the part-time recreation coordinator line item, and then you could have that person that could lead that first step to get you going, and possibly even make it something that's more permanent, but that's your decision. But from a budgetary standpoint, kind of coming in midstream, and a person who's already involved in all the facilities and has programming experience, he might be a really good candidate to do something like that with, to get things like that soccer program going again, and get some summer activities going and fall activities. And that way, we're not just kind of sputtering off the finish line, or off the starting line, but we got kind of a running start at this, and already someone in-house that doesn't take a lot of training to get there.
Sure.
So that's something I'd really like you guys to consider, and hopefully Dale can be at your next meeting.
That would be perfect.
Because the spring soccer thing, normally we would be doing registrations right now
Mhm.
into March. And it's okay if it's delayed a little bit, but I think it's important to get that going, to kind of develop your brand too, as a park board, that, hey, we're gonna focus on creating some really good programming and some great opportunities, and there's a forward direction for all of you guys, and get you a little momentum. And also, these projects that were listed by Tim are also meant to take ownership of them, right? Although it was started before this started, they're yours now. So let's take some ownership and build that momentum and build that brand, and that way that there's something there for everyone to start to really build some faith in. So I'm hoping you guys are open to meeting with Dale, considering maybe creating this hybrid position for now, until we get to that point that Corby talked about, where you can look at some of the other options from a budgetary standpoint that have to do with our community growth, and then we can really invest in the department.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think a resource that's already on the ground, that's already doing it, is gonna be invaluable to us, so.
It's a quick start, Paul, is
Yeah.
what it is.
Mhm.
It's, let's jump the gate here and get moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've heard his name from the city, from working
Yeah,
at Crown Point, so.
He's a lifer here too in Cedar Lake, you know, he grew up here, played basketball at Hanover, and he's coached here, he's refereed, he knows everybody, and he absolutely loves the community and the open spaces here, so you got a guy that's got a great passion for it already.
Well, obviously, we want to meet him,
Okay,
so.
we'll have to have Tim make sure he gets off of the plow crew and into a meeting.
I have very limited resources on bad nights, guys. I've threatened Randy several times, but
Yeah, since I'm the CDL holder on
He does have a
the
CDL.
town council, I get threatened with running a plow truck.
And just so you guys know, like right before the COVID deal, Dale did do a bus trip to the Cubs game, trying to get some parks, you know, like just get some stuff going, that was kind of a cool thing, you got like,
That was actually pretty popular. We had a lot of people who called us the next summer asking.
yeah, it was
when
kinda
was
cool,
gonna
he
be
took
set
that
up,
upon himself though to
unfortunately,
get it,
COVID.
you know, he went through a lot of work to try to do it here.
Yeah.
He did it in Crown Point a couple times, and he got like 40 people to sign up and go to a Cubs game as a town. It was a pretty cool thing, you know, he put a lot of effort into it, and he, just trying to get something happening, so that was
No,
kinda cool.
I like the idea of a Southside baseball trip too.
Yeah, I mean, he would do it, I mean, he
They
put a
play
lot of
baseball
effort
here?
into it.
They play very good baseball, yeah.
Wasn't sure.
He's good to work with.
Yeah,
He's got a great asset there.
yeah, it's super good.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll, Mr. Salatas, we'll get you that list by the 18th. And, like I said, we've already talked about some ideas and, you know, kind of did some investigating and drove around town and looked at what we have, and so I think we'll be able to go with our list pretty quick. This has a motion. Do I have to make a motion?
You could solicit a motion to defer this, since it's on your agenda.
Okay, so can we get a motion to defer this further discussion to the March meeting? Okay, motion by Sarah,
Second.
second by Paul.
Mr. Holstein?
Yes?
Mr. Markort?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Okay, 4-0, we will revisit this in the March meeting. Second on this, for new business, we have requests for quotes from sanitation companies for porta potty pricing for various parks for calendar year 2022. Approval of this motion will authorize staff to obtain quotes for the park board selection at a future meeting.
So little did you know your first action item was gonna be.
It's a high point.
The not so glamorous part of the park.
I want to say hi, too.
So I'm assuming you'd like us to say it's okay to go start getting
Right,
quotes?
so, yeah, it's just about giving the direction to start getting quotes for what's on your agenda there.
I have a quick question. Is this in the interim of getting bathrooms built? Is that why we're asking for?
Certain places, like last year at the Bartlett Walford Park, we put 2 porta potties and just, yeah, it was kind of during that time, or if anywhere else we need them. Is it necessary to request quotes again, or, last year we did all the process of getting prices, and we ended up having the premier porta potty people, and they were like, I mean, if there was ever anything that we needed, they were amazingly
From the
good.
standpoint of transparency and allowing this board to engage in this, and then maybe you come up with things like 2-year deals,
Yeah.
once we get some of the bathroom projects
Okay, yeah,
done,
they were really good.
shrink the need for
Well,
them.
just recommend that they include them in quarterly.
We'll get prices. They were the best prices also.
Okay. So this action would authorize you then to get the quotes on that, Mr. Kubiak, is that right, or?
Town manager.
I just want to know what we're doing, that's all.
My administrative assistant, Margaret, will be,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
She's the expert on porta potties.
Well, everyone's got to be good at something, so. All right, so I'm looking for a motion to authorize quotes for porta potties.
I'll motion to approve.
All right, motion by Sarah,
Seconded.
seconded by Greg.
Mr. Holstein?
Yes?
Mr. Markort?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 4-0. Project updates, Jennifer, is that pretty much what you did
I mean,
earlier?
yeah, we've kind of touched on it with everybody else speaking a little bit. Like I said, this was park impact fee. What I will draw your attention to, and I know it's kind of hard, but I like to push all my stuff on the one place for me to see.
Sure.
If you look at the 2022, I've got your beginning fund balance there for you. I've got receipts to date, and then expenditures to date, and what your current fund balance is. So as you can see, I mean, your park impact fund with building the way it is, I mean, you guys are already bringing in over $74,000 of that fund. And, last year it was just over $500,000 is what we received in park impact fee. I will point out to you that we went through the updating of the fee process last year, so it went from just over 1,200 to now just over 1,700. So your revenues will definitely, they'll look nice this year. So as we finish off, you know, the things that have already been discussed, and as you guys decide what you want to see moving forward, you know, you've got a nice bit of cash to work with to really get the jump on whatever projects, whatever programming, whatever, sorry, not program, park impact fees, more capital. So, you know, what you want to see physically at the park. But yeah, I just wanted to give you what we did last year, just so you can kind of see what has already been started. And then, yeah, Tim went over the other list. That was actually a list prepared by Mr. Everly before he left, so I kind of just built on it so you know what's progressing, what's completed, what we've spent to date so far. And then as we, you know, as you do get programming in place and we use that non-reverting operating fund, I'll add that to the queue. As you see things right now, the activity in there is pretty minimal. We do have exercise classes that occur on Tuesdays and Thursdays mornings at the clubhouse. So that's but that's very minimal. I mean, she only has a couple of folks. I mean, we're talking $40 a day when she has those classes. That, you know, so that comes in, so it pretty much covers her cost of each one of those classes. So yeah, and you know, whether we do soccer, whether we do whatever, you know, we'll start seeing that in and out. If you guys want to see the park maintenance department within the general fund, but like I said, right now, that's pretty much, we have a couple of public works guys, a third, a quarter, whatever, of their pay distribution. That's pretty much the activity right now out of there. And I mean, come summer, you'll see minimal repair expenses when, you know, mower goes out, we need to buy new, you know, weed whacker, whatnot. It's very minimal expenses. So really, park impact fee is what I will always give you up to date, because that's, you know, what we're utilizing at this point in time.
Okay.
You got anything for me? Is there anything that you guys, I mean, would you rather me have big packets, big details for you? I mean, can I keep it short and simple for you?
Yeah, I'm good with what I need to know.
Yeah.
If I can, to kind of segue, or actually maybe backtrack to the ideas and whatnot, and this will probably be something Park Board in conjunction with council, since we do have the dog park, and people have now seen that fence up, people are getting excited, we're getting a lot more phone calls at town hall, so policy and fee structure will need to be discussed, and we'll need to put something in place, so that, you know, people can start utilizing it once it's ready to go, and it sounds like sooner rather than later it's gonna be ready, so.
Is it safe to assume that that hasn't been discussed? There's no starting point for us?
We haven't really, no.
There is research that has been done.
Okay.
It just needs to be compiled in an easy-to-view format for everyone.
Sure.
And then I imagine, this is what I'm imagining, you guys discuss what you believe policy should be, what you think fees should look like. Are we talking resident, non-resident fees, or just resident use only? And then you guys share your recommendation with the council, and we get all that in place.
And it was determined to be key fob activated already by, people would have to be a member.
And that's why we have the electric for the fence, right? Is that?
Correct. To
Okay.
operate.
Not an electric fence.
Right. Right.
But to operate the key fob system, I
Sure.
mean, that was discussed between the staff and people, that it would be like a membership or
Okay.
Yeah, you'd have to pay a fee and get it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we could, I mean, Lowell, Crown Point.
Yeah, I think
they all.
Seeing from the others, but.
Yeah, we'll see what they're
But we'll
doing and
definitely
we'll
need to have
model
something in
what's
place,
unique
you
for
know,
us. Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
I would touch
I have one more thing, but I can't remember.
Just think of that after the meeting.
I know, I'll think of it later. That's all I got. Have I got anything for me?
Anyone have anything for Ms. Sandberg? Greg?
Right now.
Okay. All right.
Mr. President, when there are these sorts of things like what Jen is talking about that are policy related that do take some town council action alongside yours, we like when there's a organized recommendation of, hey, this is what we've discussed here, this is what we're recommending. But also think of things like this that are fiscal related too as a way to generate that business model of that non-reverting fund so that you've got some money, some cash flow for your department. So it's not about overcharging anyone, being fair, creating a nice system, but a system that supports itself a little bit too.
Okay.
So, thank you.
No problem. It looks nice. I saw it this weekend. It's coming along nice. So, everyone wants a dog park. Now we have one.
No, they don't. If you come to our council meetings, not everybody wants one.
Not everybody wants you to find out.
Yeah, well,
You won't make everyone happy.
nope.
It's okay though.
That's what you send out the.
Yeah, great escape
Yeah.
park.
To the best of my knowledge, we have no written communication.
I have not received anything, no, sir.
Okay. Public comments? Does anyone in the public want to comment?
Just call it 3 times and then you can close it.
I want to thank the council. I think you are certainly needed, and we've discussed in the past the things that come into the chamber from the new people that are moving into our community, and they definitely would like to see some additional things to our parks. So programs that you create, trips that you might have for seniors, all of that is certainly needed. So I'm glad to see that you're all here and have the enthusiasm to do this.
Absolutely. Well, and Diane, obviously, you're kind of a pillar in the chamber and you've been around town for a long time.
We won't say how many years.
No, I would never date you, you know, but obviously, we want to hear that type of stuff, and you know how to get a hold of me, and you'll know how to get a hold of us, and that's the type of feedback that we would want to hear. You're a very good, sounding board in my history with you. You know, we've been able to have really good conversations, so, I look forward to that regarding this.
Well, I think I'm like a lot of the people that have been raised here, grew up here, and we're very proud of the community. And with this new growth, it's overwhelming. And a lot of these people have had all these programs for years in the city. So they're coming here, and you know we're on the brink. So this is a time, certainly, and you're going to probably have your hands full with all these people, but they're enthusiastic too.
Sure.
So we want them to love the community that we live in, that we love so much too, so.
Thank you, Diane. Any other public comment?
If I can, Beck, I
Oh.
remembered what my last thought was.
Yes.
And actually, first I'll ask Diane, are we still planning the chamber having their business showcase
Yes.
this year?
April 23rd.
April 23rd, okay. So my thought was, if the park board is interested, in the past when chamber would have business showcase the town, I think one year we had a couple council members there. One year I was there with Mr. Becker, helping him with soccer registrations and whatnot. But as we switch gears, well, not really switch gears, as we improve things, and now that we have the park board in place, I was thinking that maybe the park board might like to have 1 or 2 members at the town's table for the business showcase, and maybe think about, not necessarily a survey, but maybe just kind of an idea box from the public. That way you can, you know, because business showcase does draw so many folks from the community in, that it's a really quick, easy way to get ideas from the public to help build upon your guys' ideas. That way you get a better roadmap in place.
No, I think that's a great idea. I have no opposition to that. We can all look at our calendars and figure that out for sure. Diane, you said April 23rd?
April 23rd, 11 to 3.
Okay, and is that at,
Hanover Central.
Hanover? Okay.
And that would also be a good way, you know, as we have things set in place for the dog park, because you know, let's face it, you're gonna have that half of the community that, oh yeah, there's a dog park, and then the other half of the community that has no clue, we put that in over there.
Sure.
No clue that these park improvements have been done at Montessori North, Lynn's Way, whatnot, or they're planning to be done, you know, this is going on. So, you know, I think, like, I don't mind, and I don't know what Chris's schedule is, but I could be there for a couple of hours, and, you know, maybe we can have some picture boards or whatnot ready, or just the information for folks to let them know, because, you know, let's face it, at the end of the day, people want something tangible. They wanna see, they wanna know what, you know, these park impact funds are actually going to, and if we can actually share with them, actually get it out there and explain it to them, it just makes things so much easier.
Sure.
I was just wondering, if we wanted to decide to send out a survey to the Cedar Lake residents, is that something that we could possibly put in with utility bills, or regarding the parks?
To piggyback that, so I had drafted just a quick, I think it's 6 questions. I had emailed Colleen about it, because I wanted to know what's the flow to do something like that. As it stands right now, I have it set up as a Google form, and I realize that in this binder, there's a survey, that has been done, but, we had talked that I think the first thing to do as a new board is let people know we want to hear what they have to say. So, you know, as of right now, it's a Google link, and I don't know if it falls under anything I need to send to you, Mr. Austin, but we literally want to get that out there, and we want to get that out there, especially more so, so that our ideas that we put together for Mr. Salatas maybe reflect the views of the citizens, because obviously since this survey was done, which if I remember right, the date on it's 2014, eight years the town has changed, and the wish list may change, and we can't grant all the wishes, but I think it would be a excellent opportunity to give people a voice as to what they want to see in the community. So I guess I'll throw it out there. Can someone guide us to the process of being able to get that out there, whether it's the newsletter, the town's social media?
I'm gonna say it would be all of those things. We have a full-time IT guy who's awesome about, you know, maybe he can edit, you know, whatever you have, make it easily accessible, pop it on the front page of the website. Yes, we have our town Facebook page, so we definitely blast it out there, and we know Facebook is probably gonna be the quickest way to get it out to folks. We can definitely put a little blurb on the utility bill, but March's bill has already completed and gone out, so we wouldn't be able to do a blurb until the April bill goes out, and I'm not sure how quickly you wanna get moving
Well,
on
it could be ongoing. I don't think I have opposition to, you know, throwing it out there to start, seeing what we get, and let it continuously build, you know, that maybe that second wave of the utility bill just adds to what we already have, but I think in fairness that if, you know, we're ever gonna be in a position to tell people that we wanna spend taxpayer dollars on something that we pay spend taxpayer dollars on things that people want, or at least have given them an opportunity to express what they want. Okay, so then I guess the path would be send what I have to Cliff. Mr. Austin, does that need to go to you at all?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I would probably try and do the same thing like with the recreational ideas, is maybe send me what your guys' 6 ideas would be. I can kind of meld them together, send it back to you, possibly present it at the March board meeting with the park recreational ideas. So that way you guys can make sure and vote as a board that those are the 6 questions, or however many questions they are that you want to send out to the citizens. You could approve it here, and then we can have Cliff create do what he does best.
Okay, so it wouldn't be possible to get that rolled out before the March meeting, so we have feedback to coincide with our ideas?
It could be. I just don't want to avoid any open door law issues where you guys are making decisions outside of a open and transparent meeting.
Yeah, one of the things like with email correspondence that's actually been tested in open door laws is that if you are agreeing to some certain action as a majority of the board, even through emails, it does violate open door laws. So Chris is right, you have to be procedural in these things and making sure that you're following a path.
Okay, so we'll put together our wish list for the March meeting, and I will get you those questions that we can, disperse to the community after that March meeting, and then maybe we use that input to look at our list and kind of try to gel it together. Okay.
I think that's a great idea.
I will send out an email, to you guys so that we all have it, to the board members, so you have it, and then just, know that the sooner you can get that information back to me, I think the 18th is a, hard deadline to try and meet if you can, but the sooner the better, so that way we can tear through it and get it out and be absolutely prepared for the March meeting so we can rock and roll.
Beautiful. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, any other public comment?
Yeah, I'd like to introduce myself, Earl Gundelag, I'm on the board for the Lassens Museum, in place of Julie tonight. And, again, like she reiterated, obviously have a lot of decisions to make and a lot of, important decisions for the park department as its future and as it moves forward. My suggestion to you would also be talk to some of the, personally, one-on-one, talk to some of the different, entities that are already running as functions, especially your farmer's market, that's a huge success, and get some feedback from them as to what works with the public and what they might be looking for towards the future. Even the Lassens Museum, always have tons of ideas for new events that we'd like to present for the town and the betterment of the community. Waterways, for example, that's coming soon to our museum. Want to implement that to the community and bring the community together, always coming back to this location and enjoying the lakefront as much as possible. That's part of our duty in being on the board, is making sure that we're preserving the history and retelling it to as many people who listen or who want to come to and partake of our events. So that creed that presents itself as a board member, a park board member, as to what your set goal would be for the community, will drive you as to how you proceed with the future and the decisions that your 3 to 5 year plan will take you. So start with those goals that you would like to work towards, and then that'll guide you as to how and how much you'll be able to spend in the avenues that you'll be working towards, whether it be the soccer program, or if you decide to do individuals that you want to bring in to have small little functions in here for just fun, small events for the community of Cedar Lake. Maybe things on the waterfront that you'd like to see, boat parades for the future. Maybe like I did a soapbox derby for the town of Dyer a while back, and it was the only one that went and they were able to shut down Calumet Avenue on the hill right next to Jewel, and we were able to run a soapbox derby for the Boy Scouts of America. It was an amazing event. It took place over a single day in the summer, late fall. It was an amazing time through the Parks Department program, all working through you and the strong efforts that you're all doing for the communities. Those are things that you can create easily. But again, like he had said, making sure that you're doing entities that pay, keep your business running, full source. And then of course, before you know it, you'll be running it. You won't need to ask the community as to what they're looking for. You'll already know it and already be working to improve it, and you'll hear it back from them. You're never going to please everybody all the time, but you'll get the feedback real quick. This place will be packed if they're not happy with you.
Right.
Telling you exactly what you're doing wrong.
And Earl, I appreciate your feedback very much, and just so you understand, and I don't know if Julie's told you, but Ms. Miller and myself both on 2 separate occasions have already had coffee with Julie
Excellent.
And we've had really awesome conversations. I love her energy and I love the vision of Lassen's, and regrettably I didn't get to get in there last year because my family ended up with COVID at the gala.
Sorry to hear that.
I think it's a great asset, and I'm excited to work with Julie on projects, and Ms. Miller's going to be meeting with someone from the Boys and Girls Club soon, so you've identified something, and just know that we're already kind of storming that way, just getting, hey, how are you, and...
Oh, absolutely.
So...
I could tell. And you have a great community who's, of leaders who are already pointing you in the right directions, you know?
So... Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Earl. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Mr. Chairman?
Sir?
Last meeting, I said I did have a couple of meetings that were scheduled with some people to talk about what we're doing here, and I met with Dave Weemoff from Faith Church. Faith Church is interested in, on a community level, contributing to programming, helping us staff, these sorts of things that are always hard to find help for. So as you put together this soccer programming, I think there's an opportunity to leverage a relationship there. And not that Faith Church is attempting to find a platform to proselytize, but it's more about being more of the fabric of the community and contributing to something that everyone can be a part of. I also met with the CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs Northwest Indiana and the chairman of the board, and they also have expressed an interest in partnering with Cedar Lake, and even during the daytime when the facilities are not being used from the morning until about 3 p.m., finding a way for us to partner to where we could use even their facilities to have some programming and activities, and they would also be willing to help with some of the other initiatives you might come up with. So there are community partners that are ready to be a part of this. So when you get your plan together, don't be afraid to engage and be focused on, hey, let's leverage these relationships. We don't have to do everything ourselves. You don't have to have all the infrastructure.
Right.
But with the right relationships, there's a lot you can get done, and these people are very willing to be a part of it.
Excellent. That's good to hear. Call for public comment one more time. Going once, twice, 3 times. Okay. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Motion by Paul. Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Greg. The meeting is adjourned at 7:17 p.m.